Hello and welcome to Spirit Touched. Let's talk about doctrine. There are sometimes in the Bible, there are some things in the Bible about God that many preachers don't like to preach because they think it will turn people off. They only want to teach about His loving, caring, healing side. All those things are the other side, and those sides go together. Look at Genesis 3. It starts with Satan, a tree, and a lie. The tree was the one with fruit which could open their spirit eyes, giving them wisdom. Eating it would make them as wise as God. To keep them from eating of the tree of life, God kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden. He did it out of love and to protect them. That they also do not like to preach about God's curses, yet there they are in that same chapter to Adam, Eve, and Satan. Then look at chapter 4, verses 1 through 14. Preaching needs to be balanced just like everything else. We need to know both sides of God. His blessings are the other side of Him. Blessings come because He loves us. They are not earned and they can't be bought. Our sin blocks us from deserving them. Why? Because we are not entitled to anything from God, even though He is our Creator and He does love us. They come as needed. Many times they are totally unexpected. They also come via obedience. Another way is when we do Psalm 122:6. However, I caution you not to pray that prayer just because you want to prosper. The curses come as a result of sin and disobedience. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. You see, behavior does matter. When bad behavior gets a person in trouble with the law, that's when, if you have just one person on your side, no matter what you've done, is what makes our justice system work. It's what keeps us a free people under that law. Those laws protect us from ourselves and our enemies. They are our umbrella of safety and security. Notice that when God's people obeyed His laws, they were blessed. When they did not, they were cursed or punished. It's the obedience that makes the difference. Yes, that obedience is a choice. Not obeying is thinking we know better than God, and that's stinking thinking. It comes from arrogance and brings vanity, neither of which are good qualities, nor do they please God. What they do is open the door for Satan. Do not let that happen. When he knocks, let Jesus answer the door and deal with him. Otherwise, the consequences could kill you. Those pastors who don't preach these things cause unbalance among their sheep. It's why so many churches have been closing their doors. 2 Corinthians 12:10. Why? Because there's a spirit of truth and a spirit of lies. We need to know how to discern them. Discernment is one of God's gifts, and not all people have it. Those who do don't always use it. Let's talk about doctrine. There's God's and there's worldly or evil doctrine. Discernment will tell you which is which. When you encounter a church that teaches number 2, leave immediately and shake the dust off your feet. Why? Because that's ungodly preaching. It will confuse those without discernment. Deuteronomy 32:2 in the KJV. God's doctrines will clean out your eyes and help purify you. Job 11:4 in the KJV, and also KJV Proverbs 4:2 tells us God's discernment is sent. See Matthew 15:8 and 9 and chapter 16 verse 12. In John 7:16, Jesus tells us where his doctrine comes from. That's why we can trust what he tells us. Ephesians 4:14 is good advice. Don't let Satan's doctrines blow you all over the place. Look at what Paul told his friend, a student named Timothy, in 1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, and in chapter 4:16. In letter number 2 to Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16. Then in chapter 4, verse 3, Paul exhorts his student to just preach the true word of God. Why? Because according to Titus verse 1:9, it's what convinces people to come to Jesus. You see, the truth is incorruptible because it's sincere. Hebrews 1 verse 1a, and then in chapter 13:9 says it's what establishes grace in our hearts. Now take a look at Revelation 2:14. It's a doctrine that God hates. Why? Because according to verse 24, it takes us into the depths of Satan's world, thereby putting a heavy burden on us. We just talked about a proper and improper doctrine. Let's take a look at sowing each of them. We have talked about the parable of the sower in Matthew 13:1 through 9 before. Proverbs 22:8 tells us what sowing improper doctrine brings to the preacher or teacher who does so. I'm doing my best to give you proper doctrine in these lessons. God's holy word is our doctrine, and we are told in Matthew 5:18 not to change one jot or tittle of it. Preachers who do are not called, anointed, or appointed by God, especially when they preach the word according to how they see it and not according to how God sees it. John 1:14b, see his glory come down, praise his name, heaven reigns, see his glory come down. John 8:12, Jesus is the light of the world, so go tell it on the mountain that the light has come. You may send your prayer request to He Answers TWO@gmail.com.